This video is sponsored by Domestika. What's up guys, Lucas here, welcome to another video. Today I'm gonna show you how I turned my iPad into my ultimate sketchbook, and also I'm gonna give you 3 essential tips to improve your sketching either in your iPad or also in traditional. First, let me tell you why I decided to move from my traditional sketchbooks into my iPad. Drawing on a sketchbook is an absolute must for artists that want to practice, experiment and grow, which is basically any artist. But so many times I wanted to draw in one and I didn't have a sketchbook with me, which is the reason why I have just a dozen of these sketchbooks in my drawer and each one has just 1 or 2 drawings in there. And that is also not counting that I have to have a place to store all of these guys, and whenever I move I have to take them with me. And of course the biggest con of them all, that is, the drawings in here get ruined with time. Keeping your sketchbook on digital, on the other hand, means that the only thing that you need to carry around is your iPad. You have here all your tools, everything that you want to use, and of course, if you want to have several sketchbooks, all of them are in here, in one single place. So that is why I decided to make my iPad my only sketchbook. Now let's talk about how to use this sketchbook. I have always been jealous of beautiful sketchbooks from artists that I see in conventions or in classrooms or just simply friends that have these sketchbooks that look like they curated them and made them like their personal gallery. My sketchbooks have never looked like that, unfortunately. They start pretty sometimes, but then after a couple of pages you start seeing them grocery lists and just doodles and really weird things that completely ruined the sketchbook. So when I decided to make my digital sketchbook, I knew that I needed some help, and that is where Domestika comes in. If you're an artist and you haven't checked Domestika, you are in for a treat. Domestika is a creative community with experts that share their knowledge and skills through very high quality courses. The course that I decided to take is Daily Sketching for Creative Inspiration by Sorie Kim, a great artist based in California with amazing sketchbooks. If you want to improve your sketchbooking, it's definitely the course that I would recommend you. She goes in depth through the process of developing a daily sketchbook, experimenting with different mediums like graphite, ink, painting with watercolors and also wash. She goes through some basics of perspective, sketching, and also some exercises to draw when you're not feeling especially inspired. I like that Domestika has very affordable courses and that you can just buy them individually, so you don't have to pay a subscription. But if you're committed to constant learning, then you can give a try to Domestika Plus, a subscription that gives you free access to courses every single week and many other benefits. Check out the link down in the description if you want to check out Domestika and also the course that I took to make this sketchbook. Okay, so now let me tell you a little bit of what I did in here after watching Sorie's class and how it helped me to make my sketching. The first thing that I did when I finished the layout of the sketchbook was to try some of my most familiar subject matters, and in this case it was some skulls with my LP old brush because I wanted to give them a very traditional feel, and this LP old brush reminded me of my favorite inking tool in traditional, that is the brush pen from Pentel. Then I tried to use my LP ink glaze, another one of my brushes, to use it like a type of marker to give accents of value and a little bit more volume to these sketches. Then I tried another page, but this time with my LP2B I tried to make it look like it was my favorite tool of sketching in traditional, that is a color pencil. So I gave it a try, put some references of hands in the screen and just tried to make different shapes and understand them. It is a great warm-up exercise if you don't know what to draw. But after watching Sorie Kim's class, I decided to try a little bit more of her technique and also her subject matter, because she is a very big fan of drawing animals, especially birds and fish, and I thought it was amazing because once I gave it a try I realized that animals is something that I don't draw often, and it is fantastic to draw. Not only they are extremely interesting, but also they are a little bit more forgiving than drawing humans, because you can play a little bit more with the shapes and we don't recognize the mistakes right away. One of the first things that Sorie recommends is to divide your subject matter into basic figures, that is spheres, cones, cylinders and things like that, so that then afterwards, when you have the knowledge on how to build this subject matter, you are able to draw it from imagination easier. So I filled a page with crows and I added some little tools here because I just like the idea of drawing tools on the digital sketchbook to make it feel more traditional maybe. I tried a lot of different brushes in here, and the ones that I ended up liking were wear my LP old brush the most, and then also my LP dry brush to give the idea of another pentel inking pen, but that is going a little bit dry, so it's easier to create this shadowing or this hatching effect. And then afterwards I draw some fish, which maybe it's my favorite one in here because not only they are super easy to draw, they are basically an elongated sphere, so very easy to draw and very forgiving with their shapes, but they were really fun. And drawing a different page with a different fish was a great way for me to not only increasing my visual library for these guys, but also it was just plain fun to draw these guys. I use mostly the hatching technique, is the one that Sorie recommends in her course, or the one that she uses the most in her drawings, but also is the one that I use the most when I am inking on my sketchbook. So that helped me to make it feel a little bit more traditional, even though I was working here in digital. Okay, so let's talk now about 3 essential tips to improve your sketching, not only in your iPad, but also in traditional. Tip number 1 is first observation, then imagination. We tend to do this all the time the other way around, so instead of just jumping directly into drawing from imagination, it is very important that we take the time to draw first from observation. A lot of times we try to draw something and we think that we know how this thing looks like, and in reality when we try to draw it we realize that we had no idea. So the way to solve this is for you to go out to the real world, which is just a base of a library of millions of things that we can just learn how to draw directly from the source. So you can just go outside, go to a cafe or something like that and draw people that you have around you. If you're a little bit lazier, you can just stay at home and draw things that you have around you in your house, a plant, an apple or whatever. And if you're even lazier, the minimum that you can do is to just pull up a picture out of the internet and draw directly from that. Then and only then is when you are going to jump into drawing from imagination, once you have learned a little bit of the basics of how the subject matter that you're trying to draw work. Have in mind that this is not a one-time process, right? It's not like you're going to draw crows for one time and then forever you're going to know how they work. This is something that you have to go back and forth again and again until you internalize that knowledge in your head. Once you test this knowledge from imagination, you're able to then go back to the references and try to gather the little knowledge that you missed when you were trying to draw it from your head. Every subject matter is different, so if you want to draw humans, then that is something that you have to learn how to draw individually. Then if you want to, for example, learn how to draw vehicles or weapons or crows or fish or whatever you want to learn. Each one of them is going to require for you to study the reference and divide it into these basic figures, basic 3D figures, and slowly practice until you can draw them from imagination. Tip number 2 is experiment with different techniques. There is no point on going through all the trouble of putting your sketchbook in digital if you're going to take advantage of it like it would be traditional. If it would be traditional, I would tell you to try different mediums, you know, ink, graphite, paint, whatever you want. But we are always limited not only with the tools that we have on hand, but also with what the sketchbook can take. There are some sketchbooks that just cannot take paint as well as they would take graphite, for example. Digital, of course, is not like that. You can just go nuts with the techniques that you want and try to keep it changing. Every different technique triggers different signals in your brain and trains you to become a more versatile artist. Tip number 3 is make a habit out of it. Convenience, that is the reason why we are making this change, why I personally prefer to do it in here. So take advantage of it and start carrying your new digital sketchbook with you everywhere you go. Use it in the line in the bank, use it when you're waiting for your sister to pick you up or before going to bed. Fill up empty spaces in your day with some useful sketching and studying. Whatever you do, make the commitment of using it every single day. If you create a habit of using it every day, you will see it pay off so much that you will not believe. Again, if you want to check out Sorie Kim's course in Domestika, you can go and check the link in the description, and also my LP brushes, the ones that you see in these paintings and also in every one of my paintings, are also down there in the description. Thank you for watching this video till the end, and I will see you guys on the next video. Bye.